2, 1.
Okay.
One here.
All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for being here for this evening's town board meeting. Thank you all at home for watching. Today's date is Wednesday, July 8th, 2020. And tonight we have a town board special voting meeting. And then we're going to go right into our weekly work session agenda. So before we get started, as always, we're going to have the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. So would everybody please rise? And Councilman Borelli, would you lead us?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. A moment of silence to just keep in mind all our service members serving abroad. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. Okay, for the record, all town board members are present with us this evening, as is our town clerk, Ann Spofford. Ann, thanks for being here. She's here for the voting meeting portion of the meeting this evening. And Joe Charbonneau, an excellent counsel lawyer, is here with us tonight in place of Greg Fulchetti, while Greg Fulchetti is enjoying a much-needed and much-deserved vacation with his family. So Joe Charbonneau is filling in for Greg this evening. So at 6 p.m. this evening, the town board met in executive session to conduct interviews for the Carmel Police Chief upcoming vacancy that will be created by the retirement of Chief Mike Kazari, and that his retirement will take effect on July 31st of this year. So we will have a chief's vacancy, and 2 lieutenants from the Carmel Police Department did interview with the town board this evening, and one at 6 p.m. and the other at 6:30 p.m. So before we get started, we have a guest here with us tonight, Olivia. Olivia is here. She's going to make a brief presentation on her project for her Girl Scouts. Is this for the gold? This is the gold?
Yes, this is my Gold Award project.
Gold Award?
Yes.
Okay, great. Olivia, thanks for being here. And if you
Yes, thank you.
explain to us and the community what your project is?
Yes. So I got the idea on the way to my basketball game on the way home. I saw this in East Fishkill, that they had these banners for all these veterans, and I just thought it was a great idea and that we should bring this to our own town. So I called our project Our Hometown Heroes. Basically, we're gonna have
Talk into
people-
that speaker, please. Microphone.
Microphone? Okay,
Yeah.
sorry. We have people that are going to sponsor, their sons or uncles or anything like that. The blue star here represents people that fought in combat, and it would be a gold star if they died in combat. We updated, this is our first one, our first customer so far. We updated some things on here. This was the first original one. This is the actual size that will have them up between Memorial Day to Veterans Day. And I made a website for it, and here you will find a form where you can fill out how to do it, how to sponsor someone, and then basically we'll create this for you, send it back, and then you have to proof it. And then once it's approved by you, then we will put it up. So, yes,
Okay,
that is my project.
great.
And
You-
Olivia met with the highway superintendent, and he is on board with putting them up.
Yeah,
And I
we got
believe he
that.
said after he gets 5 or so, he'll start putting them up. So it's a great project, as you see. It'll be really neat. And I believe it's going to go through some in Mapac, some in Carmel. I'm not sure what you guys spoke about,
Yeah.
the locations, but it's really neat. So I would suggest people, it's $175,
Yes.
correct, per banner.
Yes.
So if you do want to get one, just explain to them how they can, just real quick.
Yeah, you can go to Our Town Heroes, and if you just search that up, it'll be right there, and everything is straightforward. It'll tell you exactly what to do, and this form, there'll be a link to it. So, and there's contact information for me, and we have a TC Graphics, which is on Route 6, is where we will be printing these banners.
Okay, and are the brackets ordered? The
Yes.
mounting brackets?
Yes,
They've been ordered?
they are. Yes.
Yes. And Kenny, thank you guys for the town board
Yeah.
for supporting this and
Yeah,
getting the
absolutely.
brackets.
Yeah, it's a great,
Yeah.
great project.
Thank you.
We're looking
Thank you
forward
so
to
much.
seeing them up around town.
Me too.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Olivia, just leave those there, and I'll take them, and I'll put some out here, and,
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah,
I'll leave
okay.
this for you too, yeah.
got it. Thank you very
Thank you so
much.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Have a good night. Okay, So the special voting meeting is to, there's two resolutions. The first resolution is awarding a bid for Carmel Sewer District Number 1 main extension, and it's contract C-25. So I need a motion to open the special voting meeting.
So moved.
So moved by Councilman Lombardi, seconded by Councilwoman McDonough, Councilman Shannell. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so the special voting meeting is open at this time. So once again, resolution number 1 is to award the bid for the Carmel Sewer District 1 main extension, and it's contract C-25. Councilman Shannell, would you read resolution number 1, please?
Whereas the town board, the town of Carmel has previously authorized advertisement for the solicitation of bids for the extension of Carmel Sewer District Number 1 sewer main contract number C-251, and whereas such bids were received and opened on April 23rd, 2020, and a copy of the bid opening memorandum is on file in the office of the town clerk, now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Carmel, acting as the commissioners of Carmel Sewer District Number 1, hereby award the reference contract to Jochen Development Corp., White Plains, New York, at a cost not to exceed $342,507.50, and be it further resolved that upon presentation of performance bonds, labor and material bonds, and insurance certificates in form acceptable to Town Council, Town Supervisor Kenneth Schmidt is hereby authorized to sign any and all documentation necessary for the execution of all contract documentation required in connection herewith. I offer this resolution as read.
Second.
Okay, offered by Councilman Shannell, seconded by Councilman Lombardi. Roll call vote.
Councilman Shannell?
Yes.
Councilman Borelli?
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi?
Aye.
Councilwoman McDonough?
Yes.
Supervisor Schmidt?
Yes, motion carried. Okay, next resolution, resolution number 2 is a resolution accepting a proposal for engineering design services for downtown Mahopac Revitalization Design Services, and it's contract R2019-11. Councilwoman McDonough, would you read resolution number 2?
Yes. Resolved that the town board of the town of Carmel hereby authorizes acceptance of the proposal of Insight Engineering, Surveying and Landscape Architecture, PC Carmel, New York, for professional services required in connection with preparation of design documents for the downtown Mahopac Revitalization Project at a cost not to exceed $59,000. And be further resolved that upon presentation of insurance certificates in form acceptable to Town Council, Town Supervisor Kenneth Schmidt is hereby authorized to execute any and all necessary contract documentation to effect acceptance of this proposal upon the terms authorized herein. I offer this resolution as read.
Second.
Okay,
I'll second.
seconded by Councilman Shannell. Roll call vote.
Councilman Shannell?
Yes.
Councilman Borelli?
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi?
Aye.
Councilwoman McDonough?
Yes.
Supervisor Schmidt?
Yes, motion carried. Thank you. Okay, so that completes the 2 special voting meeting agenda items. I need a motion to close the special voting
So
meeting.
moved.
So moved by Councilwoman McDonough.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Shannell. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, now I need the board to open the town board work session.
Second.
So moved by Councilman Lombardi, seconded by Councilwoman McDonough. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the town board work session is now open. Good night, Ann.
Bye, Ann.
Thanks, Ann.
Good night.
Good night. Okay, first item on the town board work session agenda is a review of the town board minutes of June 24th and July 1st, 2020. Does any town board members have any comments they'd like to make on the minutes? Okay, there being none. First item on the agenda is to consider a waiver for a sound amplification permit fee for Putnam County Golf Course for Friday night barbecue series. There's correspondence here from the Putnam County Executive, Mary Ellen Odell, requesting that the town of Carmel Town Board consider a waiver of the provisions of Chapter 104 of its town code, which require that a permit be acquired for the use and operation of sound devices and equipment at Putnam County Golf Course in connection with its Friday night barbecues, which will be held through October of this year. A schedule of the season's anticipated live music events is attached. I know that the continued success of the county-owned golf course is paramount importance to us all, and that the taxpayers of Putnam County are ultimately beneficiaries of this golf and banquet facility. The waiver of the permit requirement, along with the requirement that the county pay a fee for such permit, will obviously assist the county in becoming successful as possible in its endeavor to provide enhanced services to its residents. Thank you for your consideration and cooperation, Mary Ellen Odell, County Executive. We've done this in the past, Board, so I would recommend that we do support the waiver of the fee for the barbecue series at the Putnam County Golf Course. Is the Board in agreement with that?
Yes.
Yes.
We're good with it? Okay. All right. Thank you. Okay, next item on the agenda, Police Chief Mike Kazari. This is consider a request to authorize payment of educational stipend per the PBA contract with Police Officer Travis Lash. The correspondence from the chief is as follows. I am requesting approval of a $900 education stipend as allowed by the PBA contract for Police Officer Travis Lash. P.O. Lash has earned a Bachelor of Science degree in Business Administration from Nichols College and will reach his one-year anniversary on July 22nd of 2020. Thank you for your consideration. Again, this is something that we've done in the past and will continue to do. It's per the PBA contract that its members are provided with educational stipends for continuing their education while police officers with the Carmel Police Department. And I think it's great that the officers are continuing their education. So offering a stipend for them is, I think, very appropriate, and I think it's something that is very worthwhile to support our officers' education. So I'm fine with this, Board. Is everybody okay with this?
Well, it's also
Yep.
part of their contract.
Part of their contract, right. Okay, next item, number 3, James Gilchrist, Director of Recreation and Parks. Jimmy? Jim Gilchrist is here to consider a request to authorize payment for wet tap main excavation at Airport Park. Jim?
Sure, this is for the building, the support building at Airport Park. We tapped into Water District 14. This work was done a couple weeks ago, and Amity Construction just connected it to the building yesterday. So the water line is complete. This work was for the excavation, and it was an amount of $5,674.60. B&J Plumbing actually did the tap. That's who provided the tap on the line. So there's a detailed list of expenses on, within this packet, and also the prevailing wage and certified payroll is also there. And since it's over $5,000, it needs authorization from the town board.
Okay, all right. Board members have any questions, comments, or concerns for the Recreation Director on this item?
This is within your budget, right, Jim?
It's within the capital budget for the
Capital
airport park.
budget for the
Yes.
airport park.
Yep.
And it was necessary. Obviously, a water tap has
Yes.
to, has to be made.
Yeah, that was excluded from the Amity contract. We were providing the tap point about 15 feet off of the Water District 14 line. We had our operators actually do the work on the water main, and then we had a connection point for the other contractor to come in.
Where are we with the airport park?
So we're working from the building, going towards well number 7. The contractor's doing about 200 feet a day. So they're up to the point, if you know where that large rock is when you enter the parking lot, that's the second day that they're there. So hopefully they should be up to the water tanks by the end of the week. This is a 4-foot deep trench that they're doing now. So the water line's down 4 feet, and then the electric line will be 2 feet above that. Once we get into the golf course property, which is just past the water tanks, it'll be a 2-foot trench, which should go a lot quicker down to the well. So they're going to put the water line for the irrigation in first, and then they'll do the electric in the second phase after that whole line's in. So we're getting there on it.
Yep,
Yep.
sounds good.
And the building hopefully should be going up towards the end of the month. The factory was closed, which manufactured the steel building. They're reopened, and they're
End of
obviously...
this month.
The end of July, it should be coming, yep. They're going to pour the slab for the building hopefully next week. Looking for a cool day to do that. All the plumbing and electric is in the sub-slab. That's all done.
Sounds good.
All right?
Good, thanks, Jimmy.
Any other further questions for Jimmy while he's here? No? Okay, good. Thanks, Jim.
All right, thanks.
Okay, next, 4 and 5 are with Carmel Highway Superintendent Mike Simone. 4 is to consider a request to authorize renewal of the 2019 bid for tree services. Mike?
Good evening, Board. In the spring of this year, we put put this out to bid with our spring bids. We got no bidders, and it was brought to my attention that the last year's bidder was not in the country when the bid went out. When he did come back and saw the package and the bid had gone out, he asked me what he could do about it, and I said, well, the bids went out, we received no bids. He said he would hold his contract from last year at the same price. And at that point, I talked with council, and I'm coming to the board saying, we have a bidder at the same price which we awarded.
What was the price, Mike?
It's in here, but I think, I have $5,000 in my budget.
Okay.
I believe it's $1,800 or $2,000 per day, but it's broken down also into hours. Excuse me, an hourly rate of $286, a one-day full rate with $22.95. But it also opens up the rest of the town to use this bidder, which is in case anyone else needs an outside service, so.
He was COVID restricted on an island in the
Yes.
Caribbean. That could be good, but not for its 4 months.
Speak for yourself.
That's true.
And Joe, this is okay to do?
As long as there's Wi-Fi, you're okay.
Based on the conversation that I had with Greg this afternoon, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, any more questions or comments on this item?
No.
No? All right. Next item, number 5, consider request to authorize purchase of capital equipment.
All right, as you remember, also, we came to you in February, March. Was postponed due to COVID, but we're now into the, we have our capital money in place, and these are the purchases I'm looking to make. In front of you is a New Holland mower. Both of ours are aged, and at this point, I want to replace one of them so that we have a mower at all times. We know that this kind of year, especially when the heat, mowers are out every single day, clearing the roadsides and all for vegetation for visibility. We use them all summer long. So one of them is the New Holland tractor. You can see the price there. It's off a New York State contract. The other part of it, the flail head of it, is off a NJP contract, and that's where we got our, basically it's a New Jersey, Pennsylvania contract that New York State also recognizes, and that's where we got our vac-haul from, our last vac-haul, or not vac-haul, sweeper that we have out. Next item I have is a John Deere loader. We're replacing a 1997 John Deere loader that has seen its days. I do, and it's one of the objects that we have put on the auction, and we're waiting to hear back what kind of numbers we're going to get from it. But it needs to be replaced because things are going to start to happen with it. And again, this is on a New York State contract. The money's already authorized. Excuse me, New York State contract under the NJPA contract. So, and the last item is we have been making great strides in getting new trucks every year. This year, I feel that we don't need 2, but we do need 1. I know I've tried to set a precedent to make sure we got 2 every year. Last year being a mild year, they didn't take that much of a beating. So, but I do want to put in another snowplow truck to replace one of our older trucks in the series. And again, this is off a New York State contract. It is exactly to the spec that we got last year on the International and the year before. So we are pretty much standardized back to an International now that they have a Cummins motor in them. These are the items. Going further, I'm going to make a change in the lower part of this. I would like to remove 2 of the items. The 2 rollers, I'd like to remove at this time. I have to do a little more research on it to make sure I've got the numbers and everything right. But I would like to go ahead with the Leeboy paver. I believe this is the contractor who I have his sons now working for me. He is basically going out of business and is looking to sell this. The sons ran the piece of machinery. The piece of machinery is in pristine shape, and we have people who can operate it within a highway department. I'm not going away from doing our own paving, but this size machine gives us the ability to do a lot of our smaller roads at a better price that we can do our own. If I'm going to continue to do 6 and 7 miles a year, which is budgeted, I'm going to need the big contractor to come in and do the paving. But this allows us to do some of our smaller roads. The runs that are only 18, 16 feet wide, maybe even 20 feet wide, but we can do it in-house at a lesser price, and these roads are usually a lot smaller, a lot less footage to do. So I just think it makes sense to get this paver for this kind of money. So.
I say, so you'd like a resolution purchasing the 2000 Leroy paver for $15,000?
Only, yeah, and I've talked to council on that today. He has no problem with it, so.
Okay, all right. So we'll have a resolution then for the next voting meeting. For the capital items that Mike laid out, described it to us tonight, along with the 2000 Leroy paver.
Yeah,
for
I spoke to
$15,000.
Greg as well, and he said
Okay.
that he had spoken to both of you. so-
Yep.
Okay,
So,
all right, fine. All right, any questions, comments for the highway superintendent?
No,
No? Okay, thanks, Mike.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, number 6, Rich Franzetti, town engineer. Rich is here for 6, 7, 8, and 9. 6 is to consider request to authorize a bond return for tax map 55.12-2-5.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. This is for the VIP Wash and Lube, which is over on Old Route 6. On June 17th, the planning board had passed a motion recommending the return of the bond of $134,000. I've reviewed the site, and all the criteria for the planning board have been met, as did Mike Carnazzo, the Director of Code Enforcement. He performed a site inspection and found it to be acceptable to what the planning board had approved.
Okay, any questions, comments from the board for the engineer regarding the bond return? No? Okay, Rich, go on to number 7. Is to consider request to accept the proposal and authorize purchase of installation of a variable frequency drives electric cabinet, Carmel Sewer District 2.
So during an inspection of the Carmel Sewer District 2 facility, it was identified that the electric cabinet, which powers and controls the variable frequency drives, or VFDs, for the return sludge pump was rusted and in need of replacement. Due to electric safety concerns, Infomark, the operators of Sewer 2, was advised by this department, engineering department, to have the cabinet replaced. That unit was an original piece of equipment, was around 25 years old, and the life expectancy of the new unit is about 25 years. Infomark requested and received quotes for the purchase and installation of this cabinet. The prices are listed there. Owens Electric was the lowest at $10,356. The department recommends the quote from Owens be accepted at a cost. There are sufficient funds. It includes the installation of this unit. There are sufficient funds in the budget for this purchase.
Okay. Questions, comments, concerns for the engineer on this item? Okay, there being none, Rich, number 8, consider request to accept a proposal and authorize purchase and installation of a high lift pump for Carmel Water District 2.
So Infomark, the operators of Carmel Water District 2, advised the engineering department regarding the status of the high lift pumps used at the Carmel Water District 2 water treatment plant. There are just so the board is aware, there are 4 high lift pumps at the facility, 3 are in service, and the 4th failed in April. After being inspected, it was determined that it cannot be repaired. The 3 in service are 275 horsepower and 1 100 horsepower. The 100 horsepower pump has a slight vibration and wobble and will need to be repaired. However, until the new unit is purchased and installed, this unit in service cannot be taken offline, as it would disrupt water service in the district. These pumps, when new, function and operate at approximately 1,000 GPM. However, due to their age, they're operating at a lower range. And only one of the pumps operates at that 1,000 GPM range. And during times of low demand, this new pump is operated and can keep up with demand. However, during times of high demands, especially during these heat waves, additional pumps are needed to keep up with the high water demand. We did receive a call from Putnam County DOH regarding their concern about this unit during a routine walk through the facility. Infomark recommended the purchase and installation of a new high lift pump and requested and received quotes from SB Church, TAMS, and did not receive one from All Make Pumps. SB Church had the lowest cost at $35,900. That's for the 100 horsepower pump. We spoke with the controller, and there are sufficient funds in the Water District budget for this work. and we recommend that that the town board authorizes the purchase and install of this new high lift pump from SB Church.
Okay, questions, comments for
Yeah,
the engineer regarding this?
We don't need a third quote because it's over the 20,000, or you do? With the procurement?
You need you mean on the,
There's no quote provided by all makes
Because
pump?
there's no quote provided, so is that sufficient for
Yes.
the procurement policy? Or does he have to find somebody else to give us
So
another quote?
The answer would typically be no, but this was deemed an emergency, and it's already been placed on order because of the condition of the other pump, which I will discuss with the board now. So if
Oh, I
you
was
remember,
gonna
I sent
say-
an email to the board regarding this,
Yeah,
saying,
it
hey,
did.
I put this out there, I would come to this meeting saying, to get a formal request for it, but I already had authorized, and as the engineer, Rob Varra and I talked, and we said, we got to authorize it, we need this pump.
Okay, it's only because it didn't say emergency on
Right, and
our
so-
sheets here.
You're right,
So
I should
that
have
has
had that,
to
I should have
be-
had that in there, and I can update the resolution
Yeah, the
accordingly.
resolution has-
The memo, sorry.
Memo.
The memo needs
The
to
resolution
be-
has to have emergency.
Yeah.
Just make
Yeah.
sure there's enough backup materials rich in the file that
The
reflects.
emergency.
Rich, were you able to call the manufacturer or the supplier of that pump and
So
regarding my
what-
question?
What Kenny's referring to is I came to Kenny at the end of day. If you, in this memo, I mentioned that the other 100 horsepower pump has a slight vibration and wobble. That particular pump has been taken offline, and we have a rental diesel unit at the site right now being used. That pump needs to be repaired. So it basically failed again. So Inframark contacted SB Church. SB Church said that they can do the repair for the new pump, for the pump that's there, for about not to exceed $23,000. So they don't know exactly how much it's gonna cost, but they knew it wouldn't be more than that. And so I spoke to Kenny about it earlier, and, you know, we can buy a new pump for $36,000, or we can repair a relatively new pump for $23,000.
Is there, they're giving you a
Kenny-
warranty? Is there a warranty on the work?
I'd have to check that. I don't know that answer. Most likely it's probably about a year, but I'll have to get that answer. Kenny, when I spoke to Kenny, he's like, well, can we get a discount if we buy two pumps now, two new pumps versus having to worry about repairing an old one and buying a new one? The new one is 6 weeks out. It's probably 5 weeks out right now, just so you know. We ordered it about a week and a half ago. So I called the manufacturer, or I called SB Church, and they were like, no, the pump guys, they're not gonna give you a break if you buy two. You buy two, you buy 50, you're gonna get it for the same price, so there's
How
no
old is
discount
the-
on
How
that.
old is the one that we gotta fix?
I'm sorry.
How old is the one that needs the repair?
I'd have to get that information from, I don't have it off the top of my head, so, hold on, I might have it in my emails.
So Rich, did they come out and, how did they come up with that price? Did they actually come out and view the pump to see what was wrong with it?
They were asked by Inframark to come out for two reasons. One is to set up for the new pump that's gonna be, we've already given them the okay. They
Yep.
were taking apart the one that was on site, the one that was already there and failed, and they were getting it ready for the new pump.
Yep.
And then they looked at this pump and they said, well, you probably need a couple of bearings. There's two different sets of bearings that need to be looked at, and the motor. Everything else on the pump itself is in good shape. You buy a new pump, you're buying the casing, you're buying the base, you're buying the tops. We don't need any of that, according to what SB Church said. So,
There's no other companies that could repair the pump?
I'm sorry,
There's no
what?
other companies that could repair that pump?
Well, we already had SB Church there looking at it, so we didn't look for anything else. So, right now, we have a rental unit from TAMS at $2,000 a week for that diesel unit. That's pumping the water and keeping up with the water demand.
Okay.
I mean, this is something we need to do. I would recommend we go with the repair versus buying a new one, because we can get the repair back in 3 to 4 weeks versus waiting 5 to 6 weeks to get either a new one or the other new one that we've already ordered.
When you're adding $2,000 a week rental on top of that.
Exactly, right? And that would be 10,000, or 12,000 by the time we're there.
Just check if there's a warranty on the work for
Okay.
for the repair that they're doing.
Okay.
Can you use
So
the
if
rental,
it-
can you
sorry,
credit the
Mike.
rental towards the purchase of the second one?
I'm sorry.
Will they-
I don't know why I can't hear tonight. so-
On your rental, is it possible to buy it at the end of the rental with credit for the rental?
The rental is a diesel motor, it's outdoors, it's actually caused a noise complaint, so the answer is no, and they're two different companies.
Okay.
So So I'm going to advise the manufacturer, the SB Church tomorrow, that they can go and repair it. Is that okay with the board? I will bring a formal memo at the next work session summarizing this, if that's okay with the board. I know I kind of threw this on you at last minute. I was going to send an email out, but I figured I was going to see you and talk about this evening. So,
Yeah, I think
Yes,
it makes sense.
yes,
to
it
do
makes
that.
sense. It's a priority, let's get it fixed. Let's
so
get the
hopefully
repairs.
we'll get rid of these issues. Part of the reason why these units get fouled up is diatomaceous earth, just so you know. So, it's all the
Okay.
parts that touch water are bad on that machine, or are causing problems on the one that needs to be repaired, so.
All right,
It's got-
perfect,
it's
thank
gotta-
you.
Got to get fixed. So, any other questions for the engineer on this item? No? All right, the final item tonight, number 9, is to consider request to acknowledge emergency services and repairs, Carmel Water District 2 and Carmel Sewer District 2.
So this memo is being presented to the board to advise of emergency invoices submitted in payment in excess of $5,000 for services rendered. Carmel Sewer District 2 jetting services on May 29th. Infomark, the operators of Sewer 2, alerted the engineering department that TAM Enterprises was called to clean 2 pump stations. There's an invoice in the amount of $7,320.75. And in Carmel Water District 2, a curb box replacement on 29 and 31 Fowler Avenue. On June 23rd, Ed Cook was called to dig up and replace 2 new curb boxes, to replace and install new curb boxes. Replace the old ones, install new ones, sorry, and backfill and restore the area. There's an invoice in the amount of $5,347.71.
Okay. Thanks, Rich. Any questions, comments for the engineer on this item? No. Again, it's emergency repairs, so the work had to be completed. Okay, thanks, Rich.
Thank you, good evening, everyone.
Thank you.
You too.
All right, so I don't believe there's going to be anybody here for public comment on agenda items or open forum, new business portion of the meeting. So does the board have any announcements they'd like to make before we go into executive session? Mike, you have anything? Frank?
No.
Bob? Susie, you have anything?
No.
No, I don't either. All right, so we're going into executive session.
We don't have a meeting next week.
We're not meeting next week on the 15th as the planning board is meeting. And because of social distancing, they're using the whole room. There's 7 members of the planning board that need to spread out, and they can't do it effectively on one half of this room. So the town board's not meeting next Wednesday to allow the planning board to have their meeting with their consultants and the board members and the public, so.
Just make the announcement, just everyone should conserve water as best as they can during this time. Even with the rain, we still have a lot of high demands on our system.
You want to just,
Yep.
I'm sorry, everyone. So I'm asking if we can just ask the public if they can please try to conserve water during these summer months. I know we've had some rain recently, which is really great, but the systems are being used quite extensively. The folks at Sewer 7, Water 7 and Water 12 have really come to bat, and they've really are not using as much water. So, thank you, those residents. The only other thing I can add is, people should not be using hydrants to fill their pools. We've had reports of people doing that in certain water districts, so I want to let everybody know that is illegal, and if it's caught, the police will be fining you for that, so.
okay, thank you, Rich.
Thank you, Rich.
The latest forecast for the weather is Friday. Perhaps there's a significant rain event that will be in the area, hopefully, to replenish some of these systems, some of the groundwater in the wells and our surface waters. So let's hope we get some rain. All right, so we're going into executive session with Mike Simone and Highway Superintendent to discuss a personnel matter. I need a motion to go into executive session.
moved.
Okay,
Second?
seconded by Councilman Channel. All those in favor? Aye. Good night, everyone. Be well.
Aye.
We'll be here on the 22nd of July for Town Board voting meeting.